Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Certain Corn Herbicide. Unleash residual power early to allow for pre- or post-application to attack weeds at their weakest. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg reporting. Well, after some dense fog this morning, we've got cloudy skies and 39 degrees on the barn thermometer right now, headed for a high near 50 with a little bit of rain in the forecast for later this afternoon. A couple quick programming notes. Tune in tomorrow as we'll be broadcasting from Wilmington College for the Aggies' 68th annual livestock judging contest, where 1,500 high school students will be honing their livestock judging skills. Then on Friday, join us as we'll be broadcasting from the U.S. Trotting Association annual meeting. Visit ustrotting.com to see how you can get involved. Let's turn our attention now to soil fertility as our own Brianna Smith caught up with Heritage Cooperative's Robert Mullen discussing sulfur.
Yeah, so just as a little bit of background, in one of my previous roles, I was with Ohio State University, and we have these guidelines that we typically provide farmers with what kind of situations would you expect to see sulfur deficiencies. And what we've historically said, it's going to be on that low organic matter soil, something less than 2, maybe something less than 1.5% organic matter. It's going to be something that's very coarse textured, so your CECs are going to be very low, let's say less than 6, 7. So we tend to think of low organic matter, coarse textured, high yielding environments tend to be where we think you're most likely to see sulfur deficiency. And that would have been true, but as I got later in my career, so this would have been around 2010, 2011, I was definitely starting to diagnose and confirm sulfur deficiencies on soils I would not have ever expected to be deficient in sulfur. But when you think about what sulfur does in the plant, I usually think about the primary use of sulfur is in a couple of different amino acids, and it's absolutely critical for things like cysteine, methionine. If you don't have adequate sulfur, you can't manufacture adequate amounts of those two amino acids, which can lead to decreased yields. And that's when I think about sulfur nutrition, that's primarily what I'm thinking about is the guidelines that we've traditionally used for its supplementation and what it ultimately does in the plant.
To hear more of this interview with Dr. Robert Mullen, who's Vice President of Agricultural Technology with Heritage Cooperatives, check out the full interview on our website, as well as the latest in news, weather, and markets, all at ohioagnet.com. Taking a quick look at your agricultural headlines, the U.S. and Israel-Iran conflict is crippling the shipping industry as it applies to the Straits of Hormuz. The war has caused some oil tankers and container ships sailing through the Strait of Hormuz to turn around, while many others have anchored in the Persian Gulf and or the Gulf of Oman. Now, while war insurance rose massive heights during the weekend, many insurers are canceling certain risks. The Strait of Hormuz between Iran and the United Arab Emirates is a critical shipping area for roughly 20% of the world's petroleum products. It's also a major shipping lane for nitrogen and phosphorus fertilizers. Let's get a check now of your Wednesday weather forecast brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com.
Still plenty gray here for your Wednesday afternoon, but trying to get a little milder. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that forecast update. Once again, we're seeing moisture hang out in southern Ohio. Scattered showers from US 30 southward. Northern part of the state probably doesn't see anything but clouds. We then bring a bigger chunk of rain into the forecast for tomorrow. Statewide rains anywhere from 1/4 to 1 inch easily. Taking a break before more rains come later Saturday into early Sunday. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Ohio farmers are excited about the approval of Striax dicamba herbicide for in-crop soybean use. For a limited time, B&B AgVantages in Conover, Ohio, are reopening cash discounts and financing on Asgrow soybeans. This is a fantastic opportunity to return to the proven yield performance of Asgrow soybeans and the strong weed control system of the XtendFlex system. Orders must be placed and paid for by March 13th. Contact B&B AgVantages for details at 937-368-3880.
This is Gary Puckett, Director of Communications and Industry Engagement for the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association, and this is the Ohio AgNet.
Thanks, Gary. Well, let's take a look now at what's impacting today's markets. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Corn futures are lower early today with May down over 3 cents while the Iran conflict rages on. Both Reuters and Bloomberg are reporting that Iran quietly contacted the CIA wanting to discuss ending the 4-day war. Also, weather in South America is overall favorable, but much too dry in some areas of Argentina. Now, if we take a look at soybeans, they got a nice boost yesterday from news that U.S. and China trade representatives would meet in mid-March to discuss trade ahead of the Trump-Xi meeting in early April. Taking a look at your wheat markets, they were lower early today, with Chicago May wheat headed for a third consecutive loss. U.S. wheat continues to be the most expensive in the world. Well, let's take a look now at what the markets are doing in Chicago. Today's market update brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. March corn is trading down 3 3/4 cents at $4.30 1/2 cents. May corn down 3 1/4 cents at $4.43 1/4. March soybeans are trading up 1.5 pennies at $11.57 1/4 cents per bushel, while May beans are 2 1/4 cents higher at $11.72 3/4 cents. Wheat for July down 6 cents today at $5.77 1/2 cents. April live cattle trading up $4.67 1/2 cents. April lean hogs up 42 1/2. This is the Ohio AgNet.